What's your take on Skinwalker Ranch?
Well, I have not been to it. Certainly watched the show on it, the reality TV series, and I've read a couple of books on the case. Something is going on there in terms of the activity is valid and reported by multiple residents who've owned the Skinwalker Ranch. And, they've, of course, had scientists there and throwing a lot of money and equipment at it to record some of this stuff and have had a fair amount of success at that. So it's clear there's phenomena occurring. The Skinwalker itself is a supernatural entity, which I believe its origins are from the Ute Indians. Is that how you pronounce it? Ute? The Ute Indians, I believe it's pronounced.
Yeah, or the it's the Uinta Basin.
Yeah,
the Paiute.
So that
Paiute Indians,
and they believe that this is an evil entity that can take on different forms, much like a shape shifter, so to speak. And it's not good news if you see one. Portends tragedy. It's not something they like to talk about. And they consider that area to be cursed. Reports coming out of there do have all kinds of paranormal and UFO phenomena, which points towards there being a relationship between, all various paranormal phenomena manifesting, certainly in one area. And Skinwalker Ranch is the most famous, but it's not the only one. There's a ranch in Arizona that's gaining fame. Gosh, I forget the name of it, but there's a book written about that one as well, which has very similar reports in terms of a wide variety of cryptozoological creatures. The Skinwalker Ranch, they supposedly saw a giant wolf at some point and Bigfoot, and we're having animal mutilations and UFO sightings. And
at Skinwalker Ranch, when the DIA went there, there's a book called Skinwalkers at the Pentagon, which is where this is the source of this story or anecdote. But at the ranch, you had people who were part of the Defense Intelligence Agency, so they were intelligence people with top secret clearances. And as they were doing work on the site, they would go back to their homes in rural Virginia. And because what they were doing was classified, they couldn't talk about it to their families. But their families would nonetheless start reporting sightings. So what they call it is the hitchhiker effect. And they've actually assigned it an R naught, which is like a virus, right? Like how fast a virus spreads. Because some of the children or wives, at least one reported that they saw a bipedal wolf-like figure that was outside, like scraping on a tree in rural Virginia and just kind of staring at the woman or the child menacingly. So there's also sightings of like blue, red, maybe, I don't know if there's white orbs, but blue and red orbs that were sighted in rural Virginia. And when some of the kids would tell these stories at school, some of their classmates started seeing some of this phenomena. So it's one of those things that it's hard to tell if it's interdimensional. I think there's some evidence that there might be a portal there. The way the basin's shaped is like a gigantic antenna, or not antenna, but like a reflector. But a lot of the things that happen there are either trickster type behavior, kind of funny in their own twisted way, or downright malevolent. So
it's very much what we see with paranormal activity in terms of someone going to, say, a haunted house or a place that's known for poltergeist activity can be followed by whatever this entity is. I mean, this happens over and over again in paranormal investigations with ghost hunters. They will go home and boom, they start having experiences. That's not at all unusual. So that could be exactly what's going on with this so-called hitchhiker effect.
Now, what about the UFO sightings that they routinely have there? Or is it just one of these cases where there's just an area of powerful energy that just attracts multiple phenomena?
Yeah, I don't know to be honest. But I can tell you I've got a number of reports where there are multiple activity going on in one location. And I will point to the Topanga Canyon UFO wave. I got cryptozoological reports, a couple of them. There was, a lot of ghost activity as well. And there's another area in Colorado, the San Luis Valley. The book by Christopher O'Brien, Mysterious Valley, and a follow-up book, which he describes an enormous amount of UFO activity, as well as, thunderbirds and little weird desert creatures and all kinds of paranormal activity. Sedona is another area. There's areas which I don't know what's going on there. Perhaps there's something. I hate to speculate, honestly, Sean.
Yeah,
because I don't fully understand it. I did do an interview with these two ladies who had a terrible poltergeist haunting, and that was followed up by a very close-up UFO sighting right after they escaped this haunting. I talked to a guy, a radiologist, Robert Murphy was his name, in Canyon Country, who had a UFO land in his backyard, followed the next day by a Bigfoot encounter in the same exact area. He felt it was related, and a poltergeist outbreak in his home. So what is going on here?
Didn't something similar happen at Kecksburg, like in that Kecksburg crash? Weren't there kind of Bigfoot-like sightings the same period of time?
There's a bunch of cases in Pennsylvania, where Bigfoot and UFO intersect exactly. Stan Gordon is the main researcher of that, but there's a good 50, 100 cases of that. So there's clearly something going on. And I think in some cases, these are contactees who have had a spiritual awakening or spiritual growth to the point where they're able to perceive this stuff. And suddenly you're seeing ghosts and seeing stuff that you wouldn't normally be seeing because you now have new abilities. Or perhaps this is areas where, I hesitate to say it, the veil between the worlds or interdimensional.
Yeah, just interdimensional. Right.
Is more prevalent for whatever reason, because there's high levels of, I don't know. I don't like to put forth theories that I can't support, other than to say that anecdotally this does happen. And that's true with the Skinwalker Ranch, and the other ranch in Arizona is called the Bradshaw Ranch. And that's gained all kinds of fame. There's a book on that case. There's the Blind Frog Ranch, I think, which is along a similar vein. That's another reality show, which has weird stuff going on in terms of electromagnetic activity and weird stuff. There's something to this onslaught of weird activity, but I'm not quite sure what to make of it. There was a couple in Illinois, who contacted me with haunting activity and basically listed out the things we see with poltergeists in terms of, or ghosts: doors opening and closing, footsteps, cold spots. And I'm just going down the list. I'm like, yeah, this sounds very much like your haunting activity. And they said, well, there's this thing hovering over our house at night. I'm like, what do you mean? It's this light, this ship. It looks like a ship. I'm like, oh, here we go again. I don't know what's going on here. I've had a lot of contactees tell me they have all kinds of paranormal activity. A guy in England had major contact and started seeing shadow people and a weird lizard-like creature on his wall and spider-like things and ghost dogs. So I'm more of the mind that this is something that people are perceiving due to a new awareness, or I don't know. This is stuff that could be going around us all the time, and we're just becoming aware of it. And I think it's a mistake to lump it all together as one phenomenon, because it isn't.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification buttons. Additionally, if you have any feedback, please put something in the comments below. And lastly, if you want to watch the full episode of this clip, you can find it above. Thanks again for watching.